Franklin. My one put this 1-800 number that you can contact and let them quickly. We've seen that, and America, the UK, the West are not immune to the laws of nature. And I've spoken about fiat money inflation in France by Andrew Dixon White. And that's what they try to do with the assignats in the revolutionary period in France. They started their QE and they said, oh, we're only going to do one issue and then it's going to kickstart the economy and we're going to stop. But it ended in tears. The assignats collapsed after many issues. They tried the mandats. That didn't even get off the ground. And that can be, they can use depositors' money to back it. So it's a house of cards. The derivatives problem hasn't been solved. But what's been happening now as well, because to keep this policy of QE, or the result of this policy of QE, was artificially low interest rates since 08-09 up until a couple of years ago. They kept rates at zero, central banks, their policy rates. Bond yields were also below 2%. In Europe, they even went negative at one point. We had 17 trillion in negative yielding bonds. And people might ask, why would you buy a negative yielding bond? Well, because the more negative the yield becomes, the higher and quicker the price goes. So bonds became speculative. And now with the problem that prices are rising, consumer prices, the inflation is shown.
Hey, Darren, Ramiro, Joe, Lazy, we will win, Hamid. Hey, Robert, Nikolai, Susan, P. Money, Lee Willis, Girth, Mike. I reckon I'm right popular this morning. Ham will be on in 4 minutes. He'll probably call in early because he's so hyperkinetic. Finger is up 2 cents at 328. CAUD is up 2 cents at 139.97. It's all fraud. I get sick of saying the same thing. Logic is down on it's selling on the bid. 0.0648, so 6.5 cents. GTII is down. Last trade 37.1. It's a 0.0066 down. 37 by 38, low volume. ZJYL 128, up a buck. GDC up a penny at 269. HNRA, which Billy Ray pointed out, HNRA is 205. It's 2 by 214. I'm going to try to do a video. I was going to do it this morning, but then Ham wants to get on early. He doesn't care about these stocks. But I think HNRA is highly pounceable. HNRC 0.0384, 0.0381 by 0.0389. Pretty decent volume. It's in the red by a couple of percent. Wolf down 19 at $1.999. Why do CEOs go on the NASDAQ? Adriana Friedman is completely incompetent, or she works for the hedge funds, or both. It could be both. Recruiter.com 158. All right, so we've got 2 minutes to go. What's this? Ryan. Well, let's see where that stock's trading. I mean, he certainly got all the hot money out. 0.056, 0.0055, 0.0055 to 0.0006. That has a real risk. This stock has a real risk of being seller boxed. Seller boxed. It's certainly, he doesn't have many choices except bad ones. But we'll see. He's a fighter. He is a fighter. Well, Joshua, if they said they will never release the dividends, that means Fidelity, remember, was caught out before everyone ran the COSM. You can have your own opinion on it, but there's no question the flight to Cosmo punctured the pressure building on GTII. Well, Fidelity was the company who was paying 1,000% to borrow stock. So their back office knows that Fidelity, this is my theory, that Fidelity has a huge counterfeit problem in GTII. The first time it happens, you take your notes and the judge will say, well, you didn't know? Well, yeah, our system missed it, our glitch, our back office is all 12 years old. The surveillance cameras were missing their tapes, whatever your excuse is. The second time it happens, the judge isn't going to let you get by with that. And so I would imagine that's why they don't release the dividend. And I think it's obviously you're going to say, well, I want my 10%. I think it's a good sign that that by issuing a warrant as a special dividend last year, the previous year, and that it was catching out. It was forcing a squeeze. But hey, let's go to COSM. Worst decision by people. But you can't prove it, so I got to let it go. It's America. We just have to always wake up in the morning and say, what are we going to do today? Yesterday is gone. What? Let me look that up. That just shows that smart people can be idiots. That just shows that smart people can be idiots. I'm trying to find that, Ryan. I don't see it. Let me just print that. Where else could I look? Maybe on Yahoo, huh? VOCL. I'm going to let Ham call in to me so I can get this story that you pointed out. Well, his Reg CF round attracted 500,000. I take that as a good sign. I take that as a very good sign. Oh, gosh. I need a secretary because I am terrible at anything to do with almost anything that's useful. I don't see your story, Ryan, I do not see this story. I don't see this story, Ryan. Where else could I look for it? I could just search Vocal and Lynn Partners. And see if that brings something. 42 minutes ago. 42 minutes ago, Ryan, something came out. News link. Oh, they enter settlement talks. That is going to be, if I hope it's not Mark Bazile, because I don't want to say anything bad about Mark Bazile, but print 2 to 3. If the settlement, Ryan, if the settlement is just that Jeff Easton gives up his warrants and then settles for some picayune amount of money that they made on the note that's visible, that doesn't capture the money that his partners purloined in the tens of millions, if not hundreds of $1 million off of the market cap. But anyway, let's see if I can get him. He seems to not want to call in. Let's see what happens. Let me go see what's wrong with my printer, because I want to talk about what you guys are bringing up.
Call from Andy. Call from Andy. Call from.
All right, let me all right, so Ham, you're on. Jeremy Frommer just entered into negotiations with Lind Partners. So I was trying to print that out. That's why I didn't call you.
What did you say?
Let me read it from the news story because it didn't print out. Created and Lind Partners enters settlement talks. Created Vocal, a leader in digital technology, blah, blah, blah. Announced that it and Lind Partners, a key financial lender to the financial community, to the company, sorry, have entered into settlement talks. That's my eyesight is not perfect. This move represents a significant step in the ongoing efforts of Created to strategically restructure its balance sheet and strengthen its financial position. What's he smoking, do you think? As part of its comprehensive restructuring plan, Created has been working diligently to address its financial obligation and streamline its operations. The commencement of settlement discussions with Lind Partners marks one of the final hurdles the company has faced in this endeavors. We are pleased to announce the initiation of settlement talks with Lind Partners, stated Jeremy Frommer. This is a critical step forward in our journey to revitalize Created's financial structure. After extensive due diligence, we have concluded there is no evidence of extraordinary or unlawful trading activity. We are grateful for the team at Lind Partners for their diligent efforts and time invested in seeking a resolution to this matter. The process has been transparent, and we found Lind Partners to be both understanding of our current condition and appreciative of our potential upside of our company. We are hopeful these discussions will be leading to favorable outcome of benefits for all stakeholders. Whose DAC is he sucking?
Well, he can't go anywhere. He owes my friend $4 million. So he's dead in the water.
I mean, can you believe that he still believes that Lind Partners there's no evidence? He must have been bought off. You know, I'm so hard on the CEO of COSM, but Jeremy might have been bought off by the criminals.
100%. 100%.
That's my opinion, by the way. That's not proof. That's just okay.
Again, this is not to buy or sell. These are opinions, and he's 100%. The only reason he's kissing their ass is because he needs money. And what is he in settlement talks about? What was the fight about?
Well, in March,
It's about a debt. It's about a debt that he owes them a debt. They have the debt on him. And my friend owns the other debt. He owns $4 million. So Jeremy can't do dick without going to my friend. Now, I didn't know this happened, but I'll relay it to my friend. Anyway, move on. Forget that.
all right.
I was with the gentleman that owned the NASDAQ over-the-counter market maker, the broker-dealer. He's all in. I have to do my other job now. I was with him for 3 hours. I just got home. And we have to work on getting the information about the monies needed for margin and requirements and all that nonsense. But the broker dealer is ours to play games with, and he knows that the street's going to hate us. So he said, let's go get it. And my friend is a 65-year-old man who's made millions of dollars. And he said he's here to do one thing. He wants to make the world a better place for his kids and his grandkids. And he knows, and he has met with George Soros, and he says he's the devil. And he knows Michael Milken, and he knows this one, and he knows all the players. And when he read Pat Burns' story about Milken, he couldn't believe it because he's been in Milken's presence 1,000 times. That he's part of the tribe, and they're all doing this stuff together. And he couldn't believe it. All the stocks that he's been buying are being shorted by these people. He said Soros played it off like it's impossible. He says 100% that this guy is part of the whole gang. They're all doing it. They're all just stealing all the money in the world. That's what's going on. So, and that's from a guy who has no axe to grind in this thing. He believes in what I believe in, that, we're trying to fix this thing and save it and make it a better place. And he's all on board and didn't even think a second about joining the ship. All right. And he owns Finger Motion, and he owns some other names also. I have no idea where anything's traded. I haven't seen anything.
I can do 4 quotes very quickly. I did it earlier before you came on. Vocals at 0.006 for whatever. Wolf is 197.5, 197 by 198, 27.8 by 12.6. GDC is 260, down 6 cents, low volume. ZJYL is up $1 at 128. GTII is 37 cents, 36.7. 50,000 shares to buy at 36.7, 5,000 to sell at 38. 103.
Well, 36. Listen, 36.70 is the short. They'll cross it and just to cover more short. So you understand when I say they wash the trades. Let's say you're short 100,000 shares at 5, and your position is still open. If you cross it at 36.70, 100,000 shares, you lock in the profit of $4.70, so $4.60 profit. You can go about your way, move on. You just stole all that money and you move along, right? The position is closed.
Right.
The new position is short at 36.70, whatever that number is, right?
Right.
So somebody is short at 36.70. And a new LLC. So if the world comes to an end and they're forced to cover, the guy that's short at 36.70, the new LLC, will just file for bankruptcy and walk away. Meanwhile, they crossed out all the money already. Everyone understand that? Nod your heads.
They're nodding.
Okay, as long as you understand that. So if you sold it short at 5, you need to buy it back to close out the position. If no one's selling it, how do you buy it back? They can't. So what they do is they open up a new LLC. They make it shorted at the low, and they make the difference. So basically, they're defrauding their own prime brokers. That's what they do. That's how they steal the money, close out the positions, and they wash the trades. That's another way to steal money. It's just another part of the game. Before this disappeared this morning, South Korea, saying that they're going after the naked shorts again, doing all they can, and while the U.S. does nothing. I explained it, and we can't believe it that this is still going on. I do believe MMTLP is going to wipe the street with them because they have the people in D.C. on their team. Each day it gets stronger. There's strength in numbers, and it will, and eventually they're going to have to come out and say something. FINRA is going to make a statement, and I was on with Ace last night. And what's the statement going to be? Either A, everybody's screwed, get lost, don't call us, or B, we understand and we know who's done it. We know the market makers that have got this thing trading. We're going to expose them, and then we report them to the authorities. That's all that can come out of that thing and settle this thing up. There's only 2 answers. Those are it. Either yes or no. Either we're going to help you, yes, or no, we're not. And saying yes means they have to expose the criminals. FINRA is not going to pay for the trades. They want the short sellers to pay for the trade, the criminals. If it's Virtue or whoever else got this thing started, or GTS Securities, whatever that, GTSM, I forget the name of that security firm, they're going to be wiped off the planet. And the reason they probably gave them a year is probably so they can move money around, I guess. The same thing as Alpine, because there's no reason to let this crime continue once it reported. FINRA and the SEC and the Freedom of Information, for those that haven't paid attention, were busted. And in the Freedom of Information request, the information is right there. They all know about it. They're investigating it. They said they want this on their fraud desk, and it's right there. So it's not, they can't even deny it anymore. They've been caught a long time ago. That's the regulators. Let me go through the stocks for a second.
Fingers up 5 cents, 371.
That was quick. Anyway, ZJYL.
Do you know Mike Ox? Do you know Mike Oxmal?
No.
He said to tell you hi. He grew up in Brooklyn with you. Mike Oxmal, OXSMALL.
Did I hit him with a ball or something?
Anyway, go on. I interrupted you. I apologize.
Anyway, well, welcome back. I always want to help people from Brooklyn. That's always great, some of the old neighborhood. Anyway, that ZJYL. There's 1 million shares in the float. One group owns 1.3 million already. They're going to retire. They're going to take 500,000 shares out of the system. So the real float at the DTC is going to be 500,000 shares. Interactive Brokers is offering to lend out 800,000 shares if anyone wants to check. There's no shares in the marketplace, and Interactive Brokers is offering 800,000 shares to lend out. So we know where the short lies. They've been borrowing it from Interactive Brokers, who's creating stock to lend out. So again, one group owns 1.3 million. There's 1 million in the float going to 500,000. Interactive Brokers has been slowing their request to take the shares out and send them back to the transfer agent, and they've been holding it back. So Interactive Brokers, who's been fined $5.5 million for naked short selling, is actually assisting hedge funds in naked short selling in ZJYL. Everybody knows about it, and they will pay dearly soon. That's what I'm being told. All right, I know more about that than GDC. I'll get that information when it gets funneled to me. I will pass it on. Okay, I own the stock $1 higher. There's nothing I can do about it. When I get the information and I trust the sources that are telling me to be long, I will pass it on to you. GTII, I told Ace last night, and I think I told you guys yesterday, the new consultant's been reaching out to different parties for me to talk to them. I just haven't had time. William, I have someone that I texted you 5 times to call.
I know. I know.
You have to call them up. It's about mining.
All right, I'm going to turn off this live. I'm going to turn off the live and call him.
All right, whenever.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
When you get a chance, call them up. They ask
I
me
will.
again. They're mining guys, and they know you understand mining, and they want to talk to you.
I will get them. I will. I'll do it right
just want to let you know they want to speak to you. So the people that are doing the GTII are obviously working on something, and they've been reaching out to me about the stock or whatever I think, and William about mining. So we do have some value, William, in this world. All right. So again, until I speak with somebody, I have no idea what's happening. Obviously, it's something to do with mining, and they want to speak to William, so I can't answer that, but William can.
I'll do it.
I spoke with Ace last night. Ace confirmed that he knows the people that I'm speaking with as far as the Secret Service. He knows the people that introduced me. So people that, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. They are here. So again, that's Ace can confirm that. It came through him. Mark Bazile introduced me to the FBI. So people that think that I'm bullshitting, we know the sources that have done this. Because people keep saying things to me like I'm full of shit. And I just want to let you know that the people that introduced me to them, I've given their names. So if anybody ever wants to has doubt that I've done this, it's completely false. All right. So that is completely false. So we'll move that along. Finger motion. The earnings are supposed to come out any day. I think it's the 12th. Somebody said today. Someone tell me Brokerage first and the earnings will come out today. I'd heard it was the 12th. I don't know what day it is. But we know it's due. We know that they're working on a special dividend. Big shareholders have told me that. So again, I don't know what the outcome of that's going to be, but they assured me that there will be a special dividend. What shape or form, I do not know. Obviously, a special dividend like Dole Foods, once you issue a special dividend, the shorts can't deliver it. It exposes it. All right. We just want to keep putting more pressure on the short sellers and get more proof for the Secret Service and the FBI, because the special dividend will give us that proof, just like it did in MMTLP or GTII. Finger motion happens to be the stock that I presented to the Secret Service and the FBI. And by the way, the FBI does own Finger Motion and MMTLP, in case anyone forgot that. All right, so these guys that are playing these games, trust me, they will get exposed. I can't tell you what day, but all the data doesn't lie. People do. So again, all the information that we've been presenting is going to be handed over to authorities. Most of it has been already, and we'll let them shuffle through it. And thank God for South Korea, because they're actually showing our law enforcement that there is a problem, which is great. All right, it's not just William waking up from a hangover telling everybody he had this vision about counterfeit shares. It's true, and it's all over the globe. And the biggest institutions in the world and the smallest hedge fund crooks are just looting the system every day of $9 billion. Everyone's doing it. Everyone but us. And we're tired of being the saps on the wrong end of this stuff. Right? And that's how you fight back. The gentleman I spoke with today, I told you he wants to change the world. He's on board with us. And he says, just keep turning people and educate them, and the game will change. And he says the system always finds a way of correcting itself, like it did in 2008 when all the banks and everything blew up, Lehman Brothers, AIG. It cleared out. Everything got back to normal. It was working fine. Again, the criminals come back in, and here we are in 2024, and they're full force. All right. So the system will eventually correct. I think the market will get its ass kicked sooner or later here. And the guy I was with today has ties to Trump. He's going to reach out. I told him about Pat Byrne. He thought that was great, but he said he's going to try to reach out through Mr. Trump's secretary, who he knows very well, and he's actually been on Trump's plane. So we have a new friend that has very, very solid connections, and he's going to reach out and see if he can get me an audience with him. And I discussed it with William before, and it's basically we want to address the taxes that these guys are not paying on these transactions, besides the job loss, the destruction of technology, and so on. So we'll get that story. Hopefully we'll get it to Mr. Trump shortly, and we'll move on. Every time I meet someone, you get more information and you move to the next, and everyone wants to help out. If you don't want to help out, like the gentleman yesterday on Williams' call who was bitching that it's the same shit a new year, those people can go take a walk. All right. I call them a coward. That's what they are, a coward.
They are
right?
cowards of the county.
Well, there's cowards, and this guy, he wants us to basically hand him money so he can go enjoy his life. That's not what it's about. We didn't steal your money. The crooks have, and we're trying to get the crooks so that we can save your family, your children, or your grandkids. If you don't want to do it, you're a coward, get lost. Go do something else. All right? We can't help you. Anything else, William? I'm blank.
One guy's asking, what if Lind Partners went to vocal because law enforcement is putting pressure on Lind right now?
Nah, that's Jeremy trying to keep his company alive. He has no money.
And just to pay himself so he can continue to.
He has no money.
Yeah.
He has a cost of doing business. He's paying off his vendors with stock. His vendors are selling the stock, and that's why you have nothing there.
He
I don't want
raised.
to get involved with that. I don't want to get involved with that guy. Stop bringing up his name.
All right, I won't bring it up again. There's just questions. My fault.
He shot himself. He shot himself. And sometimes CEOs want to keep their idea alive, whatever it is, their hope alive. And he executed all the shareholders, including my friends and family, for his own benefit, to keep his employees or whatever his vision is. And he's doing a deal with Lind Partners because he knows them. And he has no proof that they're the bad guys. Meanwhile, they're the only guys who had a toxic note with him that could be hedged. And here he is settling with them. What's he going to give them? Stock at a penny?
He said he raised $500,000 separately, but anyway, let's just ignore it. I'm sorry. There were just some questions.
I don't. Any company that wants to shoot himself, I can't help you out with. And it happens all the time. I mean, MULN, under pressure to reverse his stock, I told him don't do it. He did it 3 times already. You know, what can I say? I can't do anything about it. I can't stop that. CELU, I told him don't take the money from Yorkville. When he took the money, stock is now 20 cents. And I was in the guy's office. But they don't know any better.
Call from 1603723.
Off the NASDAQ, that probably happened already. Next thing is going to happen, he has to reverse the stock. He has to save the ship. He'll say, oh my God, I got to do it. I have no choice. Because he has people that are working for him. He has a burn rate, and he's burning through his money. His money that he raised from Yorkville at 85 cents and at 50 cents now has him at 20 cents. And guess what's going to happen? Each day, working on these breakthrough drugs that he's working on, he's going to need more money. What are they going to give it to him next at? 30 cents, and the stock will be 10 cents. And then he'll raise money at 20 cents, and the stock will be 5 cents until he's grinded to zero. Or he reverses it and starts the game over again.
So Allende is asking, and I understand the question, we'll be able, I think we used to call it DVP. No. We called it DTC, I think. Anyway, when we get the new broker-dealer running up and running, you just sign a transfer form and your account will transfer that day. Well, as soon as they process it, same day you can trade your account the same day. We used to call it something. What'd you call it?
They DWAC. They DWAC your trades. They just move your
Yeah, but
positions over.
yeah, maybe that's what they deliver. I think we called it
It's not
DTC.
DVP. Delivery versus payment is what they use.
Well, we did that with our trading accounts.
Right. We do that with hedge funds where they hedge funds have a prime broker. All their trades, when they do a trade, are reported back to the prime broker. And when you call a broker up, I'll say, William, buy me 100,000 shares of this. They'll ask me who my prime broker is. They'll say Citibank, and they'll say, we're going to set this trade up as delivery versus payment, and that's how it's all done. So they use one place, one central place to do all their trades.
But
For example, if I'm a hedge fund, I'm not going to open up an account at every firm on the street
right,
and wire and send money back and forth.
Right.
All my trades come to one spot and they handle it all for me.
that's right. But the point is, if we get this broker dealer going, people can move you can move your accounts. You trade at your old place until the transfer occurs, and that same day you can trade at the new broker dealer, or you can trade position by position by position, or you can just wire some money.
We want people to stop opening accounts at Robinhood and Goldman and more. They give you nothing. We want you to control your own destiny. And and when you do make your decisions on whatever you're buying and selling, our motto will be, when you do a trade with us, it will be settled, guaranteed. There'll be no counterfeit shares when you buy your stock.
Buy-ins guaranteed. Buy-in guaranteed.
Wall Street works together. They've all said, hey, just don't worry about it. The trades will settle when they want. Just look. I'll give you an example.
I can't.
Let's use finger motion. It was $10. They're marking it down, marking it down, marking it down. The SEC is going to say, relax, everybody. These trades that they sold at 10 eventually will settle out. They'll get delivery. Of course, they're going to settle out because they're knocking the stock down. Eventually, they're going to buy it back, right? Or the company's going to raise money. That's how the SEC views your investment. They let these.
Sorry? Are you talking? Hello? Is there a foil around you? Hello? I'm going to hang him up and we'll start over. Sorry about that, but it's not, I don't think it's me. I think he went, and we'll just start that over again. Okay. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. I don't think it was me, but it might have been. I just called you back instead.
No problem. I forgot what I was even talking about. I said that the brokerage community is going to hate us. What we want to do is we want to make sure that that they settle every trade. That's the most important thing.
Right. We can call it buy-in guaranteed if you don't deliver in time.
We want to be, listen, Robinhood made a big stink about being the brokerage firm of the people. And they fucked everybody. They could care less. The guy, he's a billionaire because he took the bullet and killed you and he protected Wall Street.
We'll call it Nottingham Sheriff.
All right, that's right. We'll be like Robin Hood. We'll be the Robin Hood, the opposite of Robin Hood. We'll make fun of Robin Hood. Don't open an account with Robin Hood. Open it here. Robin Hood is a $12 billion market cap company. Take away their accounts, it'll be zero.
I think Robin Hood was created to help the criminals and funded by the criminals, just like Weevil.
That's a good point, William, because exactly what they did.
Yep.
Where did Robin Hood get the money from? Hedge funds, money managers, right?
Yeah.
Who did they protect at the end? Hedge funds, money managers. Pretty easy, simple.
Their whole raison d'etre is to trade in fractional shares which don't exist. I think out in plain sight, it's a pressure valve, opening a pressure valve to help the criminals.
And listen, we start out, remember, if we have a small broker dealer, when you execute trades, we're executing trades on your behalf. You control your own destiny.
Right.
You'll have an online trading platform like you have everywhere else, the same nonsense.
Right.
And we will do options, and we will do this. You need to have money margin to back up any trades you do. It's the same thing. The only thing that is not happening is that no one's settling the trades.
Right.
And I just have to get the dollar amounts that we need. Obviously, if we start getting accounts like 100,000 at a clip, people will be throwing money at us because they know we become the next Robin Hood. Right?
We'll have to have a good website, and
It'll be pretty easy. It'll look just like the signs that we post on the truck. That's how easy it's going to be. We won't fuck you is what we're going to say on our thing. That's it. When you buy a stock, you get what you pay for. Goldman Sachs, Robinhood, and all these other firms, they should say there, when you buy a stock, you get shit. You get nothing. That's what they should be saying. All right, that they're hiding everything that they do to you.
Could you, while it's in your head, could you clarify what's going on with Yellow Ledbetter? There, you said there's 1 million shares in the float. One group owns 1.3 million, and then that group or the company are trying to take 500,000 shares out of the float at the DTC. Can you explain that?
They're taking 500,000 shares out of the system from that group because the brokerage firms are lending out their shares.
Okay, so the 1.3 million shares the group owns, they're taking delivery of half of it, 500,000 shares.
500,000 shares. They're going to take it out. Interactive Brokers is offering over 800,000 shares to borrow, I'm told. Anyone has an account there, Interactive Brokers, maybe they can post it and we can all see it. I was on the phone when they told me. That's all I know.
So those people are giving up the squeeze potential on 500,000 shares, but they keep
wouldn't it be nice to have 800,000 shares?
Exactly.
When they sell it at, let's say, 20,000.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm told the brokers have been calling the company, offering them money to have the company give them shares so they can cover. And then the company's told them to take a walk. That's what I heard. It happens all the time. Remember all the times they tell you that GTI was getting calls, or the holders of Finger Motion were getting calls? They do it all the time.
Right.
All right. And when you tell them to take a walk, they get angry and they attack you more. All right. That's what they do. But at the end of the day, they need to buy back all those shares. And if a company can survive without bowing down to the criminals, that's when these stocks take off. Finger Motion is close to taking off because they haven't bowed down to the criminals. GTI has not bowed down to the criminals. Vocal has bowed down to the criminals. How are they doing?
Well, he put in the release, he sees no evidence of illegal trading.
Yeah, you tell him to go back. Someone should post on Vocal, go back and post his comments when he first did his talk in New York City, remember?
Oh, yeah.
I was with Jeremy when he wrote his speech. I helped him write his speech that he gave at the Disruptive Technology Conference or something like that. I forget when it was. He read it back to me 10 times. I said, stop changing and just go read the stupid thing. And he did. And he was very aggressive, talking about fighting. He wanted to fight back, fight for his company. He's been on Twitter yelling, I'm fighting for my company. What was the name of his thing? I put money up for, what the hell was it called? CEO block or whatever the hell it was, right?
Oh, yeah, CEO block.
So he was fighting the shorts. He was helping fight the shorts in GTI, but he didn't want to help the shorts in Vocal, right?
Right.
So he was doing CEO block to help the shareholders in other companies, not his own, because now he sees no evidence. Again, stop dragging me back to this.
All right, let's not talk about it.
You keep bringing it up.
Your mama. I'm not going to read the questions, but in general, a lot of people are asking about. I'll read one. What's so special about a special dividend if you can't sell it? Which is just means he doesn't understand the situation. But let me read you this.
Okay.
Let me just tell you this before you start. The R.C. LaBelle says a friend of theirs owns 73,000 of GTII and gets calls from Fidelity every week for those shares.
Why?
There you go. It's working.
Let me tell you something. Online brokers don't call you up. That's not their game. Real brokerage firms call you up, not online brokers.
Right.
They're calling you for a reason because they want to lend it out. They have a problem, anything that, they don't call you up. They're only
Right.
calling you up because they need help on something.
Right.
So again, I can't tell you when we're going to stop and it turns. All right. But this stock has squeezed from here to 9, got crushed back down again. And what came out of it after we did the dividend? When the stock ran, the brokerage firms were telling people, you can't, excuse me, I was drinking a Coke. You can't, if you pay for your dividend shares, the warrant at 275, going back, this was before most people here. The company issued a warrant at 275 and the stock was 60 cents and the shorts were laughing. Right?
Right.
It went to $9, William. People were trying to exercise at $9. You can pay $275 and sell stock at $9. Who would want to take the $7 or $6.25, right?
Right.
Brokerage firms wouldn't let people exercise their warrants that were supposed to be in their account because they didn't have the warrants. Or they told people, if you exercise the warrants, you won't be able to trade them. You won't be able to put them in your account. They did everything to discourage people from doing it. People have done it. I think the company raised $3 million from retail investors. The company should have raised $20 million, but because Wall Street wouldn't let people convert. So the company could have got stronger fundamentally doing a money raise north of 275, but they wouldn't let them do it. But people were laughing. Oh, this is 60 cents. The company gave out a warrant at 275. And guess what? The stock went to 9. All right. So they do work. All right. MMTLP is just a special dividend. It was the creation of Torchlight. The shorts were short Torchlight, which was this dividend, had no way of covering it. So they created a symbol, hopefully the people that owned the Torchlight dividend would sell it. Instead, the Torchlight dividend became more valuable because people can figure out that oil is worth something. And now they got trapped because people were buying it, saw the value on it, and something that was, let's say, was 1 million shares is now 650 million shares.
Right.
Because of this criminal activity, they made it worse, 1,000 times worse. So a special dividend, I'll go back and just do it slow for you again. A special dividend is a dividend that actually exposes the criminals because it's created because they can't deliver it. And this GTII tried to create a special dividend giving out a crypto coin. How could the brokerage firms or the short sellers put a crypto coin in your wallet? They don't know who you are. How are they going to find your wallet to put a coin into it? And guess what? The SEC and the Depository Trust shut them down. Then the company tried to do a Picasso. They bought a Picasso painting and they were going to make fractional ownership of this Picasso and give everyone a slice of this Picasso. What happens if the Picasso became from, whatever the price was, and all of a sudden became this worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Who knows, right? We don't know.
Right.
That's the theory. The brokerage firms know they cannot deliver a piece of or a dividend share that represents a piece of a Picasso that they have nothing to do with. So we created something that would break their balls. It did. And who came after us? The DTC and the SEC. You can't do that. I just don't understand what the DTC and the SEC have to do with a public company giving out a dividend. They put their nose right in it to shut it down. All right. So the company GTI has tried two things. All right. They tried the Picasso and the crypto coin. So we went back to doing another sort of a special dividend. Obviously, any dividend you give out, the shorts owe you. And I'll take it back again to something else. You can go read the story about Dole Food, DOLE, Dog, Oscar, Larry, Eddie, the pineapple company. Went private. The shareholders sued the company because the CEO bought the company too cheap. The company was acquired and went private at $10 a share. And the shareholders saying, hey, this company's worth $13. You robbed us of $3. The shareholders took them to court. The shareholders won. The company, the CEO, had to pay everyone $2.75 in the form of a special dividend. The company is now private. It's not even public anymore. But the CEO has to pay everybody who owned the stock on the last day of trading $2.75. When they said submit your statement in, now $2.75 is a serious payday, right? So the shareholders had to send in their statements to get their $2.75. When they sent in the statements, the company only had 36 million shares in the whole company. When he announced it, everyone sent their statements in. Remember, a statement is proof that you own the stock from your brokerage firm, so it is considered wire fraud. The brokerage firms committed wire fraud because they sent you a statement, and guess what? 13 million more shares showed up as owned. So the total number went from 36 million to 50 million shares, say, and the CEO says, who the hell are these people? We only have 36 million shares. I'm not paying the other 14 million shareholders. Who the hell are they? $3 a share, you're talking about $42 million more. The CEO saying, I don't know these people. Who are they? He can only pay the 36 million. Matt Levine from Forbes wrote this story in 2017. I beat him up every day to tell us who sold those shares. What was the name of the hedge fund that sold those shares? In his article, he wrote, the hedge fund that sold these shares, maybe he died, closed up, or went out of business. Obviously, he sold 13 million shares at $10. He walked away with $130 million, and no one even looked for him. The only reason they looked for him is because the company lost the lawsuit and paid a special dividend. You see, the special dividend exposed the crook. It exposed the problem. That's why the special dividends are done. They're here to expose the problem, not to make you rich, thinking you're getting a dividend that's going to change your life. It's here to expose the problem so that the stock will be forced to be covered and you can make a lot of money. That's what the special dividend is about. Not to give you a gold bar and say, oh, I'm rich for my special dividend. It just shows you Dole Food by accident gave you this enormous value, and it exposed that there was 14 million shares extra in the system. Just Google DOLE has too many shares. And it talks about that there's a problem with the settlement system. One of the stories written by the New York Times says that Dole Foods shows you that this is a need for blockchain settlement. All right, that's 2017. Today is 2024. How come no one's moving on it? Wall Street has trillions of dollars behind it. They can't figure out how to do blockchain settlement. Blockchain settlement, for those who don't understand it, is I own 10,000 shares in my name. When I sell it to William and he buys 5,000 and Anna buys 5,000, the blockchain, we did change the ownership from my name to William's name and Anna's name. And when they sell it, it changes to the next people's name. So it keeps a tab on who owns the stock, and it keeps following the history of it. But instead, Wall Street wants to keep this crazy system where no one knows what's going on, and what's going on is a crime, and that's how they keep it alive, because it's hidden in the dark.
Okay.
Did I explain it? Did I explain it slowly?
Oh, you're amazing. You and Ace, you guys are unflappable. I'm too flappable. I would have gotten upset with that answer. You did a great job.
And that's how a special dividend exposes it. And I put it up on Twitter for years. I put up there the woman with the kids with musical chairs. And I always tell everybody, I make fun of the SEC and everybody. I says, it's my patent pending idea to fix the stock market is musical chairs. Because when the music's on, everybody's walking around. When you stop the music, everyone needs a seat. When one kid falls to the floor, he doesn't have a seat. In the stock market, when you announce a special dividend, you have a record date. That's the day the music stops, the record date. You take out your camera, click, you take a snapshot of all the investors on that day. Anyone who owns the stock on that day, let's say it's January 1st, they're entitled to the dividend. Now the problem comes, what is the broker going to give you if there's not enough dividends? They give you what you're getting, GTII. Well, we're trying, you can't get these dividends, you can't sell them if we get it to you. They give you all the lies. Who are they covering up for? They're covering up for the short seller. Think how hard it is that we have to go, the brokerage firms are covering for the short seller who owe you a dividend. As a broker, your job is to do what? Execute
Settle the trade.
Settle the trades. That's their job. What do you need a broker for if they're not settling the trades? They're the middleman. They get the money, they hand it to the seller. The seller gives them the securities, and they say to you, William, you bought 1,000 shares of GTII. We hold on to it for you. We'll be the custodian. And you say, great. They hold it to you until you want to sell it. Their job is if there's a dividend, they have to get the dividend shares that match your name. If they don't get the dividend shares, that means that the depository trust only has a certain amount of shares they can give a dividend to. They only have a certain amount of shares that the company's authorized, excuse me. And if the number of longs doesn't match the number of shares available, Dole Foods has 36 million shares and the investors own 50 million. Obviously, there's a discrepancy of 14. 14 is counterfeited shares. MMTLP, they have, was it 165 million shares? And they believe the naked short is 600 million shares. Finger Motion has at the depository trust, the whole company, free trading stock is 24 million shares. We believe it's over 200 million. The discrepancy is 200 million minus the 24, and then you have 175 million, 176 million shares that are counterfeited. Who sold all these shares? That's how you expose that number. The brokerage firms will not tell us. I'll just show you this for a second. I put up that little graph every day. Merrill Lynch can hit a button, and in 1 second, they can tell how many people own Finger Motion at Merrill Lynch. 1 second. Merrill Lynch then calls the depository trust up and says, hey, depository trust, how many shares do you have on record from Merrill Lynch that we own, physical shares? The depository trust says, we have 1 million shares for you. Merrill Lynch hangs up the phone and says, oh my God, we own 10 million. We have a naked short position of 9 million. Who sold us all these shares? And guess what they say? Fuck them. Don't worry about it. It'll work its way out. And the hedge fund that sold the 9 million shares is having a party because no one's calling them up. That's it. We open a brokerage firm. When we get that discrepancy, we're not going to say, hey, hedge fund, we're going to track you down like dogs and make sure that they get bought in. Bought in means that they sold shares, we buy them in, you got to buy them back. So imagine selling stock at 3 every day, and we buy you in the next day at 4. You're not going to be in business much longer if every day you sell stock at 3, trying to knock it down, and we buy it back at 4. Correct? William?
Right.
So that's how you get them. Wall Street does not buy them in. That's the problem.
If you owned ZJYL, what good to canceled order would you put in?
I would definitely put it way higher. If you own it at $200, you put it out there, sell half at $1,200, and then hold on to the other half and let it go. If this what we're hearing is correct, you sell half at $1,200, you make a few bucks to cover the whole position, right?
Right.
You make a few bucks and you let the rest and close your eyes, and then see what happens. Maybe it gets to 5, 10, 20,000. Who the hell knows?
Could it get to 30,000?
That's what I told you it was going.
There is another question. I just got to find it. Oh, I know what it was. Have you ever heard of this company, this regulatory body, PCAOB? I don't know if I have. PCAOB. They're like an extension of the SEC, which audits brokers and companies to protect retail. They have offices around the country.
No, I've never. I spoke to a woman who was an investor, and she was a top auditor, I think, for Price Waterhouse, I think it was.
Yeah.
And she always told me, go after the auditors. The auditors of all the brokerage firms all should be in jail, because I'll go through this. This is the way I was taught accounting in college. Let's say Frank Sinatra has a show on Friday night. Not this Friday, next Friday. He sold $20 million worth of tickets for his show. He cannot count that as income until he does the show, correct?
Right.
He doesn't count it earned yet until he does the show. The brokerage firms, if you go to Wall Street, they execute the trades. They don't settle them. Now, their commission from your trade, whether you think you may not be paying a commission, but they're selling your order flow for a commission. So whatever that money is that they are getting for that order flow is commission. If they don't settle the transaction, they never earned that commission yet. They haven't finished your transaction yet. So all their financials are all wrong because they've taken this income and they've never earned it yet.
Right.
It's unearned. So trades are not settled for a year or two. How are they counting that as income?
Right.
Goldman Sachs is selling its order flow to Citadel and they're getting paid for it, and they count that as income, correct?
Right.
But the trades are never settled. How could they actually count that as income? So every brokerage firm's financials are all wrong.
Well, these brokerage firms have clients on both sides of the trades, and I guess they just suck up to their huge hedge fund clients rather than retail clients.
Well, let's go through that. You just brought up something which is right. The guy from Morgan Stanley and the GameStop thing, what did he do? He naked shorted every day. The guy from Share and Tell. The video's right there. It's the beginning of the GameStop movie. Right. I naked shorted every day. Why did you do it? Well, no one stopped me, and I did it to get commission so I can make a living. That's what he said, right?
Right.
So your answer that the brokerage firms suck up their hedge fund clients, why are they doing it? To make a living. There you go. They're not doing it looking the other way for fun. They're doing it to get money. That's what they're doing it for.
Right.
The big hedge funds do a lot more trades than you do and pay a lot more money in commissions. Maybe they buy bonds through them. Maybe they do something else. Maybe they do something legitimate somewhere else. And they keep giving the firms more commission. So let's say Lynn Partners at Jefferies, and Jefferies is hearing that they're getting called in on something. They say, give them a break. Give them a break. They just bought, $20 million worth of bonds. We made, $400,000 off of them in commission. Give them a break. Oh, yeah, okay, no problem. Let them go. Maybe that's what they're doing, right? I remember on the desk, I had Marty Zweig, Leon Cooperman, and I think it was Michael Steinhardt. They were all short the same stock. The firm came to me and said the shares were being called in. And they said, which clients? You got 2 of your clients have got to be bought back in. So I picked 2. They bought them in. I called the clients up and said I had no choice about it. What did I do? The best paying client, we let him stay short. So let's say it was 150,000 shares they were short. They were calling in 100 of the shares that we borrowed at my firm. They say 100's got to come back. All right, Marty Zweig, you're out. Leon Cooperman, you're out. Michael Steinhoff was my best client. He stays short. That's just how it went. Today's market, no one does anything. Everybody stays short. Let's just keep having a party. Matter of fact, let's short more.
I mean, I don't want to talk about that other stock. No other questions, but that doesn't mean you have to go.
Well, I've been talking for how long straight? I went through settlement. I've done everything I can. South Korea is our. Those leaders should be our leaders. Our leaders are a disgrace. How could they go home at night? Heads to Pierce.
Well, you know, one
Gary
country,
Wait,
and
let me stop you for
yeah,
1
yeah,
second.
sorry.
William, how much money does the lady of FINRA make?
28 million a year. She's at NASDAQ, Adiana Friedman, 28 million a year.
I posted last night, I put it up on Twitter. Yvonne Hubler, she's the head of enforcement at I think it was NASDAQ or FINRA, I forget which one. My friend has been blasting her for 15 years. And this is a good story for people. I told everyone this last night.
Did he go to West Point?
No, again, not that guy.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to give you a story how naked shorts help unwind a stock. My friend, I'll use his name, Eddie, owned 1 million shares of VUZI. He put all his clients into it. He loved the company. He built a book on it. The stock was going up. The shorts were getting in a panic. The shorts turned around and started to attack the stock. Now, my friend bought stock on margin. So when the stock is 9, when it goes to 8, William, he had to call his clients up to do what?
Buy him in.
Put more margin up, right? Or do whatever.
Yeah.
Then the stock goes to 7. They're pushing it down on him. His clients, he had to call them up and put up more margin money. When the stock
Or sell
goes
them
to
out.
6,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, sell them out.
So every day he sat every day and he goes, this is so crazy that I'm calling clients up every day. I can't do anything to make sure they wire money to hold on to their position because he believed the stock was going to go higher. And every day was going lower and his clients had to put up more margin money.
That
Every
happened
day,
to me in a stock. I know exactly what he went through. It's horrible.
Imagine me calling you up every day, William, say, listen, you got to put up another 5,000. Stock's down $1, but I think it's great. You got to stay with it. You do it. The next day I called William, stock's down a little bit more. You got to put up another 3,000. You go, okay. The next day you call up and say, William, the stock's down $1. Sorry. You got to put up 10,000 more. You're going to say, hey, F this, sell the stock. So the stock, they unwind the stock and force people on margin to sell their stock. This is another avenue in the crime that most people haven't thought about. He called up Yvonne Hubler every day as a broker, getting it on record that his clients are being ripped off because of naked short selling. And before any of them sue him, he wanted to register a complaint with her because he knows what was going on and he wanted to make sure that she knew about it and that he would, if he gets dragged to court to get sued, because clients will sue the broker for recommending the stock. So this guy went on record to protect his own ass, saying, I called the regulators every day about the manipulation in the stock so that you wouldn't lose money. He had to protect himself, and he was smart enough to do that. The stock went from 9, I think, to $1. So all his clients got sold out. Then the stock turned, it ran to $26, and that's a true story. And I actually spoke with the company ZY. No, it's VUZI, VUZI, and it was out of Rochester, New York. Somebody can check and confirm that, but that's what I'm pretty sure that's who they were. And then the stock turned and it squeezed. He lost all his clients. They lost all their money. I don't know if he was sued, but he did everything he can. He called Yvonne Hubler every day. She was the head of short selling at the NASDAQ or FINRA, I forget. And her assistant is something Swell, something like that. I put it up on Twitter. It's right there. You can just look through my tweets last night because I explained it to them last night. There's people that work during the day that can't listen to your calls. They listen at night, so I try to jump on and help him out.
Oh, with Aces, the place for the
I
unflappable.
can't. All I do is call. I don't understand. I never hear what he has to say. I just call in and just go.
Well, if you want unflappable, it's you and Ace. If you want flappable, it's me. All right.
When they're firing the bullets, you got to stay tall. That's just the way it is. And I understand it's about money. And, you know, I'm sick of watching my account go down like you are. It makes me nauseous every day to have to fight this. But you know what? I'm here for a mission. I'm here for a reason. And I don't know who's telling me to do it, but I can't stop. And the gentleman I met today, he thanked me for my efforts, and he's willing to support us by giving access to his broker-dealer. If I can fund the margin requirements or the margin that it needs to be self-clearing, and so that we can take care of this problem, I will go to my sources to get the money once I find out the amounts.
So there's a company, you're not going to be interested in this company, but it's a SPAC that de-SPAC'd for oil and gas. And anyway, I looked at their presentation and it's really valuable per share. But the shorts, the criminals took it from $12 down to $2.
Okay, so
are the shorts smart? Are the shorts intelligent, or are they stupid?
This is what they do with a SPAC.
Okay.
Someone starts a SPAC. We all put up our money at $10 a share.
Okay.
Right? They all seem to start at $10.
Okay.
So William puts up $1 million. I put up $1 million. And somebody else puts $1 million. It's $3 million in the SPAC.
Okay.
The people in charge were supposed to find an asset to put into the SPAC, right?
Okay.
And we get to be part of that approval process. People start buying it because the company has equivalent of, value of $10 in cash. And everybody's waiting for this wonderful thing that's going to come into something that could be worth north of $10, right? So the shorts or the investors in the SPAC, everyone starts talking about the different opportunities they get. Well, it sounds like GTII, right?
Yep.
You got these great opportunities, and all of a sudden, people are shorting the shit out of these things at $11, $12, at $9, and $8. And guess what happens? The people that put the money up can take their money out of the SPACs. They don't like what they're doing. So they short
with a small return, like 10% or something.
Well, I forgot the whole the whole thing around it. But anyway, they take their money out.
Yeah.
So now a company, let's say if it's got $3 million in cash, all of a sudden 2 people pull out $1 million apiece. The third guy's going to pull it out. All this back, all the money they had to buy an asset doesn't exist anymore. So the shorts created the perfect storm to short because they controlled the value of the company, not the people at the company. They put 2 people in to be the leaders of the company. They're sitting here. They had, let's say, $10 million. The next day they have no money. And the SPACs go whoop, straight down.
Yeah. And the organizers get 1/8 of the new company, but they also get a fee for being the overpaid wankers. Right. And then they probably get a kickback from Jeff Easton's clients.
Hey, William, do me a favor, go babysit this for 3 months. We're going to put money up. We're going to pull it out. The stock will go to 0 and we'll pay you. Okay, great. Thank you. Can I get in trouble for it? Nah, we're just pulling our money out. We don't like the market. We don't think we can find a suitable candidate. That's it. Hey, we found a company that's making all kinds of money. Nah, we don't like that because they can short millions and millions and millions of shares. Never
Instantly.
naked short it, never
Instantly.
borrow it,
Yeah.
and then let it drop to zero. That's
Yeah.
why the Spac game collapsed. There you go.
Um,
That's a different angle. Everyone's learning a new way that the shorts can steal. If we keep doing this long enough, we'll figure out every stupid angle they do it on.
well, and the whole regulatory structure is set up to go after rogue CEOs, and they ignore the shorts. But I actually think it's set up to help the shorts. Anyway, Billy Ray Valentine, I wanted to ask you one of these questions here. Are we still going to South Korea? Sure, whenever it opens up.
Well, no, well, listen, it's not easy to travel. My son had surgery, so I'm a little busy right now on January 25th. So I have to be around, and I didn't know the holidays bumped in. The COVID was popping up, and I didn't feel well, so I couldn't go at that point. So it's not exactly.
And there'll be Chinese New Year sometime. I don't know
It's
when.
not going from Brooklyn to Manhattan, so it's not going through the Battery Tunnel. It's a little bit further. It takes a day to fly there. Then you have to set up the meetings on there. You know, it's not easy to do. And this is something that has to be discussed face to face with the regulators. And as you can see, the regulators are foaming at the mouth to go after these people. So, you know, again, I wish I could go tomorrow, but I can't.
Okay. So we didn't talk about GDC. Is there a catalyst for God, David, Charlie?
Yes, there's a huge catalyst. It's going to 50.
Okay.
I told you 50 times. I don't know what it is. If I hear it, I'll tell you.
There was another. Oh, here it is. Gosh, this gentleman points out that Tucker Carlson, the man of.
I heard he had, what's his name on this show? Jordan Belfort or something like that?
There, you're a pretty smart guy. You know, you're not a dummy. You're not a dummy. You're not dumb. That's what she said. Gretchen Morgensen. All right, so it's 12:25. I don't know if
I'm
there's
gonna
any
go
more.
have a slice of pizza and a Coke. And
Is
try to
pizza
wake
good
up
in Florida?
no, not really. But what am I gonna do?
Is the Coke good in Florida?
My Coca-Cola gives me. I've been up since 5 o'clock. I'm tired now. I've been driving and talking for hours already. So I apologize if I'm running out of steam. It's my midday nap time. I guess I'll take a nap. I don't know. I will. But if there's any other questions, I'll answer them. If not, I'll just move
There
along
really
and
aren't any. We can give them a second to finish typing.
Yeah, if
but,
anyone has something, shoot, because otherwise I'll go about my day and try to figure other things out.
somebody wondered if Aces the Place is going to have a call tonight. And I guess if he is with Ham will put it out.
No, I don't. He does it. I don't. I just see it. I saw it yesterday. I saw it last night at 8 o'clock that he was coming on 8:45. And for some reason, I bumped into him at 9. I called him up, and I couldn't even get on his chat, so I just called in, and you know, if you do get on with them, ask a question for Ace. Is Ace, are you sure that Ham is talking to the Secret Service? Ask that, because he knows the gentleman who introduced me to him. Voila. So just ask
I
him.
would ask, are you sure you want to root for San Francisco?
Yeah.
Is it possible for GTI and Finger to announce a share buyback to trap the shorts?
Companies, when they get the money in the bank, they try not to do that. For example, look at the stock Peter, Robert, Tom. I posted about it. One gentleman said it didn't trade enough volume, but the stock went from $1 to $3.
Right.
The company announced they're buying back $10 million worth of stock. 10 million. It's right there on in the news release.
Right.
And where do I think that stock's going? Well, they're buying $10 million worth of stock back. It seems like the trend is your friend there, and the shorts are staying away from it because they can't you can't compete against the company buying $10 million worth of stock back. And for those who don't understand, when a company buys back stock, they need guaranteed delivery of a real cert. Why? Because the shares have to go back to the transfer agent and they get ripped up. So let's say the float is 1 million and they're buying back 200,000 shares. The float goes down to 800,000. 200,000 shares gets ripped up. The company takes the numbers of the certs that they bought and they actually say retired on those things. And that's how that stock is going to keep going because the company's buying it back. What day are they buying it? How high they're taking it? I have no idea. I just thought it was a tremendous statement by a public company. And I quoted on it. And I heard the story about the stock and I posted it. I do not own it, but I just let people know about it. That's all I did. Just go read the news on it. I don't know anything about it. But if a company's buying $10 million worth of stock back, companies don't make statements like that for fun. They're doing it for a reason. All right, so there's your answer on a buyback. You can watch it yourself, educate yourself on it. You don't have to buy it. Just watch it and see how it operates. And when you do see news of a company buying back and say, hey, you know what? I saw it in this stock PRTT. Maybe this one will act the same way. I don't know. Just follow it and learn. Is that a good enough lesson on that?
That's a good answer. That was a good answer.
Again, they all act differently. If a big board company comes out and says they're going to do a buyback, their stocks usually jump $5 out of the gate. Am I correct, William?
Yes, they usually do. Not anymore.
They usually do. Big board stocks, when they announce a buyback, the big funds know, hey, we're going to buy it before the company buys it. Holy shit, what a great trading strategy. That's what people do on Wall Street. You read the news. The SEC's job is to look at and see if the company is committing fraud. So as a fund manager, when a company makes a statement like that, if they were buying back $500,000, but you make a statement of $10 million, that's a big statement. And I'm sure the SEC reviews companies that do this stuff and make a statement like that. So it's got the approval of the SEC. The company's in good intentions. And so the stock traded up. It's been going up. I think it went up to almost $3. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Where is it right now? I'm not looking at
Which one?
PRTT.
Pretty young thing. PRTT. Down a penny at 280.
All right. So here's a company that has made that statement, and the stock is, if you look at the chart, this thing moving up. That's what happens when you announce the share buyback. This company has the money to do it, and they're making it work. That's it. That's how it works. Other companies are afraid to use their cash. Why would you? Companies need their cash to grow their businesses. All right. This company may be a mature company and, doesn't need the money. So they're taking the money that they have and supporting their stock and buying it back. That's how that works. You can go check out any buybacks and see how they trade, at least understand the trading patterns. That's how you become a better trader.
Right.
Anything else? No.
Did Finger start? I'm not going to finish that. Finger has a percentage of the business in China. It's not worth answering. I'm buying GTII. No, there's nothing else. Nothing else.
All right, everyone. Have a great day. If I hear anything earth-shattering, I haven't had a chance to even sign on and look at anything. I told you I was at a meeting all morning, and I'm back, and I came on to you, and I'll check and see what's going on. I have no idea what's happening. All right, William.
All right. Thank you very much.
You got it. Thank you.
All right.
Call ended.
All right. My computer is heating up. I probably won't go very much longer, but let's see if company buyback. Well, that's it. This is going to come to an end at some point. The reason why is the United States financial system will collapse. So they're just, jerks like Jeff Easton, who obviously bribe and cajole a delusional man or a desperate man to put out that Lynn Partners that has done nothing wrong. Okay. I just bought 4 shares of that yellow Ledbetter stock. We'll see what happens. DBMM is up 100%. That's the January effect. I don't know what else to tell you. I wouldn't get overly excited that these stocks, which have been crushed by the Kramers, are going to recover in a huge way. And this one, couldn't we do serial numbers for each stock? They all have that. Obviously, that's a question. Couldn't you use Bitcoin? I think they have the computer power. I mean, you can buy a ticket to a Taylor Swift concert and they can tell by the barcode whether it's counterfeit or not. I don't know who would want to go to a Taylor Swift concert. I mean, she's semi-good looking. And her songs all suck, apparently. But people go. Let me see if there's any. All right, it's 12:35. I'm not going to stay on much longer unless there's a question. Because okay. So I'm going to sign off. I don't see any more questions. So thank you to everybody for listening in. All right, you have a question. Don't go. If I do go, I'll make sure I wash my hands afterward. Well, I have my shares at E-Trade, and that's Morgan Stanley. It's not E-Trade, it's Morgan Stanley. And maybe they, look, the dividends were issued as a special dividend, which you'd have to go look up the news story, which requires physical delivery of the shares to the transfer agent, 10 of them, to get one new share issued by the company. The whole point is to get rid of the fraud. The whole point is to count to settle the trades. Now, we could call up GTII and say, you know what? Could you give Wall Street a pass? Just tell them they can issue IOUs, counterfeit shares. We don't care. We want to sell our 10%. Well, then, then you shouldn't even be in the stock of GTII. Look at the story he just gave for yellow Ledbetter stock. I wrote it down. There's 1.3 million shares in one group. There's only 1 million shares in the float, and that group of 1.3 million, they're going to request to take 500,000 shares, 500,000. They're going to request physical delivery of 500,000 shares. That's 40% of their position. You can do better arithmetic than I can, approximately. that they can't sell into a squeeze. But what are they doing? They're trying to cause the system to have to buy back stock. So anyway, I just, if people don't understand the purpose for the restricted shares being issued as a special dividend, I'm useless in my I'm useless in my educational skills. Okay, CB. I used to look, everything you buy in a private placement or if you receive shares as, I don't know, you're a large holder, you're an insider. It's under the Securities and Exchange Act of 1934 or maybe 33, and they put a stamp on it. It's a God. This is just inanity talking about it. You get a physical certificate. It has the stamp on it. It says these shares have not been, or basically they're, I wish I could find the legend somewhere to read to you. But these shares basically are not free to trade. They are either exempt or not exempt under the Securities Act of 1934. And it's a 6-month restriction. This is not rocket science. After the 6 months are up, typically, if you're one shareholder, you have to go through the process of getting that legend lifted. It takes a medallion signature. It takes the transfer agent working with you, and it probably takes a lot of cash. It used to be done. You do it right with your operations manager. He'd stamp it, he'd sign it, and boom, done. Or your client would sign it, he'd stamp it, and it goes in. They don't do that anymore. Why? Because the system is set up for the criminals. Anyway, now in the case of GTII put a blanket letter out to the transfer agents to lift that legend. But companies like Morgan Stanley and others are saying to you they can't do it. Why do you think that is? You know what? I'll go back through this effing special dividend. I'll go pull up the news release. I'll pull up the filing to the SEC because you can't, and I'll read it out to you. I'm not going to do it now. I'll do it on another call. The whole reason to issue this one restricted share for every 10 shares of GTII as a special dividend was to run it through the funnel of the Liberty stock transfer and require your broker dealers to put real shares. Now, it might just be vouchsafing for it, but to put real shares through the transfer agent, physical, not IOU, not rehypothecated, not hypothecated, not Xeroxed, not mimeographed, not failed to locate counterfeit shares into the transfer agent. Once the transfer agent has that, they'll issue that one share. Well, obviously, Fidelity seems to be having a problem with it. Many of the brokerage firms on Wall Street are slow walking it including I have E-Trade. I can't trade mine. Morgan Stanley. What does that show to you? Something new? You date a girl for a long time. You're in love with her. And let's say it's 9 months into the relationship. And you find out that she slept with her boss while you were on a business trip. And she says to you, hey, I'm not, you're crazy. I'm not going to give you details. You're doing it. And you say, no, I don't do that when I travel. But then you decide that you're going to stay with her because you think you're in love with her. Well, 6 months later, she meets a wealthy guy, nephew of a billionaire. And she starts sleeping with him. And she tells you about it. Or you find out about it. Are you learning something new? Should you be shocked? Should you go through all the paroxysms again? You're not learning anything new. When you buy shares of GTII, there's a seller who is selling to your broker-dealer shares that have not been located, shares that don't exist. Now, there's apologists out there who say, oh, no, there's systems in place. The data you get from FINRA doesn't take into account the stock that gets bought back. Well, all right, you can believe that. Then everything is settled up. Okay, how can you find out who's right? The apologist, the credulous, or the people that say that your your broker dealer is putting into your account an entry that says you own 10,000 shares of GTII, and they give you a price and you say, hey, I own it. Look, it's in my account. Well, you got Ham saying what's in your account is just an IOU. And you got the credulous telling you, yeah, sure, you got it. Those, that failed to locate, failed to deliver, there's systems in place, and Wall Street settles it up. You're crazy if you think there's a big short position. So you got that battle going on. You got the Professor Angel who bullshits. You got Jim Cramer who bullshits. And you've got your back offices of your brokerage firms who bullshit. You've got Gary Gensler who bullshits. You've got Adina Friedman who collects $28 million a year and bullshits. Everybody bullshits. So how do you find it out? You try by issuing a warrant as a special dividend. And that puts the Kramers in the hole for $1 billion. It's so bad that Alpine takes over the trade. But people you still adore, which that's fine with it because we all make mistakes, come and tell you, get into COSM. Well, you went. Most people got slaughtered by COSM. But by going to COSM, it let the steam off of the pressure cooker in a squeeze in GTII, in my judgment. It was all there. You go over to COSM because it's definitely going to squeeze. Well, what's the difference? The difference is COSM is working with the criminals. They're just looking for hot money so they can fund their company. The CEO can live a life of, in the Mediterranean with his buddies for the rest of his life. His retirement account is paid for. His pension is paid for. His wife has her jewelry. But you fell for it. We all fell for it. But what's the difference? At GTII, at least until recently, GTII has refused to do deals with the criminals. Now, everyone got out of the restricted warrant. The warrant says a special dividend. So what did GTII do as soon as they could organize it? They issued a restricted dividend which was a special dividend. It had to go through the transfer agent. So you have a legend on it. Now, Wall Street, the fact that Wall Street now is delaying, prevaricating, telling you bullshit. Are you surprised she's sleeping with another guy? What new information did you find out about her? Anyway, the reason there's a legend on the stock is by definition, it's restricted. There's a 6 month restriction. GTI has provided to E-Trade and has provided to others a letter to lift that restriction. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
You're on if that's what you want. If not, I'll
Oh,
take
I
you
just wanted to give people, and I'm just sitting down, I was just thinking, short sellers love to cover when the market goes down because they know investors like to sell when the market's going down. So just be aware of that. So sometimes you see stocks pop on down days. Those are shorts trying to cover because they know investors are saying, the stocks ran up a dime, I'm losing a quarter, let me get the hell out. And that's where you see a lot of times shorts try to cover. So like I just saw finger motion was green. Today could be that day where they run it back to 4.25, 4.30, something like that on a down day, because they know people will offer it out there and try to get out. That's what
Right.
they do sometimes to take advantage of it. I just want to let people know that. All right, it happens in all names. All right, you'll see a stock that's a big short like a Tesla or Nvidia. The market will be down $300, $200, and those stocks will be up. Those are shorts trying to cover because they know people like to bail on those days. All right.
Okay. Thank you, Han.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye.
Call ended.
All right. So Liberty is telling CB, if E-Trade will not process this for you, you can request they send the shares back out to you where you can remove the restriction directly with us. CB, I would make sure you get that in writing or email from Liberty, because once you take physical delivery of shares, it is nearly impossible to get it back in electronically, inexpensively, or without a shyster firm. There's one or two. One in, and I say shyster, I'm realizing that has a Semitic connotation. I don't mean it that way. Let me think of a shady firm. So just make sure. I believe you're right, though, that Liberty will do it because GTII is their customer. And I don't think they'll charge very much. It'll probably cost you $100, $200. And maybe if enough people do that, you get the restriction off, it'll cause a squeeze. But please hurry, because what you want to do is make sure you can sell your 10% distribution at 38 cents. That's the whole goal here. CB, the goal of this is to catch out the system, but maybe that's a good idea to catch out the system. I'm going on and on over 200 shares. Go ahead and send them. Go ahead and sell them. Go ahead and sell them. Bob, I just sold my Vocal and I bought 4 shares. I bought 4 shares of yellow Ledbetter. So we'll see how that works out for me. I think you have to get out of I think you have to get out of Vocal. It's not going to go up, in my judgment. And once you do, you know, maybe you can take a gamble on a stock like the one I just said. I can't do 2 things at one time, apparently. Let me get that out. Okay. Anyway, I bought that, whatever it is, JY yellow better thing, and we'll see if it runs. We'll see if it runs. But Vocal will go down. I think Vocal will be seller boxed. I think the clients that Jeff Easton uses will destroy that company. There'll be a settlement. It'll be that Jeff Easton magnanimously takes back his warrants, cancels the contract. Both sides agree nothing's wrong. But in the meantime, the criminals who use those contracts to counterfeit shares in massive volumes will continue selling because they know Vocal has a burn rate of about 300 to 500 a month. Now, the press release that I tried to print out, but my computer is not working, said that Vocal has raised $500,000. I know from a friend of mine that Vocal is getting close to being positive cash flow. So that implies they'll never need to raise more money. And maybe there's a way out of this situation. But I would suggest to you your task now, like I said last year, wait 31 days. You'll have a chance to get back into Vocal. If it's up, it's up. But let the dust settle on that story. Well, there you go. E-Trade will not take the trades back, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what E-Trade says. You have the trades converted to electronic shares at the transfer agent, and then you can transfer it wherever you want to go. But CB, I'm losing it on this story because this is mind-numbingly stupid to talk about. It's mind-numbing. If you don't recognize it, since about 2010, Wall Street no longer holds physical certificates for you. They no longer hold shares in safe keeping. They require you to hold your shares in electronic form at your brokerage house. They will ship to you your physical shares. Therefore, everything that trades on Wall Street is electronic. They are trying to take the model that happens at your bank, where if you give your bank $1,000 and you go in the next day to withdraw that money, it's not there. The bank has lent out $10,000 against your 1,000, and they need to maintain it. If you're Eagle Bank, they have a 10% retention rate. The fact is, in the commercial banking system, it's probably 1% of the money is in the accounts. They lend the rest out. Now, what does the commercial banking system bank on in this fractional reserve banking system? They bank on the fact that if 100 people put in $1,000 for $100,000, they can lend out 100 million or whatever the number is. And all of those people are going to leave the money in. On any one day, only 1 or 2% of those people are going to come and ask for their cash. Wall Street, investment banks, broker dealers are trying to do the same damn thing with stocks. I don't know what to call it other than fractional reserve security system, fractional reserve custodial system. They're trying to do the exact same thing. So you put 10,000, you have 200 shares. We're talking about it for effing 200 shares. But you put in 10,000 shares of GTII, or you buy 10,000 shares of GTII. The system has magnified that asset to 1 million shares of GTII. What's the risk? The risk is that you ask for your physical shares. And it used to be all you had to do is call your broker and say, I would like to take my position of GTII out of type 2 and put it in type 1. So all you had to do was tell your broker. She would call the New York or tell her margin clerk, and they would move your shares from street name to safekeeping. It might not process right away, but it would get done in a matter of days. And then your brokerage firm would have your 200 shares in your name in safekeeping. So the one risk that Wall Street had by imitating fractional reserve banking and creating a hybrid fractional reserve custodial of securities in brokerage firms, the one risk that they had is that people would wake up and say, move my shares from type 2 to type 1. Well, how can they get around that? Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs, Prudential Beige, E.F. Slutton, all of them can say the only way that you can be in the United States security system is electronically. So broker dealers, prime brokers, transfer agents, DTC, everything is done electronically. And then what they do, they make a barrier, an expensive barrier to get out, and they make it almost impossible to get back in. So you, as a customer of Wall Street, leave your money, your shares in electronic form. That allows Goldman Sachs, that allows Ken Griffin, that allows Larry Fink, that allows any big aggregator of money, that allows your broker, that allows your broker dealer to have $10 million worth of assets under management instead of 1 million. Of course, I'm making these numbers up. You do not demand to have physical shares because your broker did, we won't accept it back. Oh, it's going to cost you money to move it back. If you take it out of the system, we're not going to take it back. So you leave it in. So your 200 shares now become 20,000 shares. Instead of earning commission and fees on 200 shares, they're earning commissions and fees on 20,000 shares. So how do you try to trap it out? Company issues restricted shares as a special dividend. Well, the 6 months is up and my brokerage firm won't tell me, won't let me trade my shares. Oh, GTII is all a fraud. I'm sick and tired of dividends. I'll never get a dividend. Well, you're missing the point. The point is to try to trap the security system into having to settle the trades which are counterfeit in GTII. But they lie to you. They have apologists out there. They say the system works. They have CEOs that back up the placement agents. The Alpine files lawsuits, and they buy time. You buy time, you can move it around. What's the risk in the fractional reserve banking system? It's called bank runs. It's when everybody asks for their money all at once. If they can spread it out, they can keep the shell game going. I don't know. I don't think this is a very hard concept to get. And I don't think I'm all that smart. But I must be talking to dunderheads, or I'm the dunderhead. I don't know which. Your brokerage firms are lying to you. They do not want to honor all at once, all at the same time. They do not want to honor the demand for physical shares of GTII to distribute the one physical share of the 10. Of course, it's all done electronically. And then we get in the netherworld, what's real, what isn't. Oh, baloney, there's not that many shares short. I used to work for the American Stock Exchange. Impossible. Oh, those are good clients. They just use algorithms. Oh, the Kramers are good boys. They're just trying to raise families. Frank Benedetto knows Kurt Kramer. He's not a bad guy. He posts on, or he said he would never treat anyone badly or something like that. He posted on Twitter. So you have the doubters. And then on the other side, you have people like him saying, this is what's going on. How do you prove it? You try to cause everyone who owns GTII to demand at the same time of their broker dealers, we need to transfer our shares to AST, Liberty Stock Transfer, so we can get one share of restricted stock for every 10 we really have. But what has the system done? They've dragged it out and out and out. They're probably going to get away with it, but at least GTII is trying to do it. When the warrant as a special dividend was issued, they went out and bought a CEO, and they bought a couple of guys, whether they knew it or not, those two guys. to get everyone to get out of GTII. It was $1 billion. It was $1 billion loss. $1 billion loss. Anyway, I guess I have to do a video on it. It's all useless. It's just useless. It is just useless. You're living through it and you still don't understand it. It's just all useless. It's just all useless. I lose my cool. I become flappable. And then I spend the rest of the day thinking, why am I even doing this? All right, so I would go on with Ace tonight and talk about it. Talk about the dividends with Ace. He'll explain it, and he's a better teacher than I am, and you'll understand it. And I hope you get your 200 shares so you can sell them at 38 cents, and you'll have $76. Anyway, I'm going to say thank you for tuning in. I don't know how to fix myself because I get so agitated with these kind of questions over and over and over. So anyway, I wish everyone peace, love, and happiness. I really do thank you for the questions. Thank you for hanging in there. The fact is we shouldn't have to go through this. Gary Gensler, 125 million from Goldman Sachs and the Clinton Foundation. Adiana Friedman, 28 million, 26 million a year at NASDAQ. Robert Cook, never saw a meal he didn't finish at FINRA. Charlemagne Constantine at over-the-counter markets, big shit-eating grin on his face. Your broker-dealers, your back offices, the prime brokers, they're all in on it. Jeff Easton is just a pawn in a bigger game. He thinks he's a great dude. He's just, I used to say, the only entity on Wall Street that's on the ass end, further on the ass end of investment banking and trading than the retail broker is the retail client. I would say that's Jeremy Frommer is way out on the ass end, but Jeff Easton is down there with him. The people running this show are stripping trillions of dollars out of the U.S. markets. But I got to go.